My name is Sven Reimers. Started using Java like in version 1.0. I think next time I was publishing a open source a code quality plugin for NetBeans. That must have been like early 2000s. And then in 2009, I got a award, the Duke's Choice Award for the application I was working on in my day job. And I was awarded being a Java champion in 2014, I think, something like this. And I became involved with OpenJDK and JavaFX due to my long, rich client history. And I'm now an OpenJavaFX author, so not a contributor, but an author. So yeah, at least a first step in this big project. And I love still love doing desktop things, and I think JavaFX cool stuff for doing those.
Totally agree. And I invited you for this interview because of JTaccuino. I saw your presentation at DevVox. You also presented it at the J Champions conference. Can you tell us what's the idea behind this tool?
So the idea was created at a conference at JCrete, where we were talking about Java and education things. And we figured out that we were all missing a good tooling to do things with Java. So not big IDEs, but the small things. We remember that there was like a demo from Oracle showcasing something like a notebook in JavaFX. And we're trying to get hold of this, but it seemed they are making internal progress, but there was no real commitment seen from the outside. And we had some more discussions on what we need. And then after having other discussions with fellow Java champions, it was like, do we wait any longer, or do we just tackle this problem for ourselves? And we just started creating this. And so I'm the main contributor. I'm the lead of the project, but I've got a lot of people in the background helping me with ideas and trying things out and supporting me with the components that I needed to do this. So yeah.
So we have in Java, in OpenJDK, if we install it, we have JShell, which is a tool to run Java code and see the result immediately. Can we say that JTaccuino is some kind of user interface extending JShell?
In a way, yes. So JTaccuino is using JShell as a backend for executing the code snippets you put into those cells. I think the major difference is that the interaction model is a little bit different. So if you're stuck with the terminal, you can go back in your coding history, but it's like a one snippet at a time, so you don't have like larger blocks you can move back and forth between, and it gets quite complex to remember what have I done, what was my history, because you don't have the real UI from, okay, this is how my code will flow in the end. You can go back and forth a bit. But it's I think it's way more difficult to reason about what you're doing. So I think the notebook style, and I think I remember tools from the 90s during my studies that were already doing things like this. It was like a mathematics-oriented way of doing those things with formulas and calculations, not so much programming, but it has the same idea with having a documentation and formulas to do those things. So I think the concept is very nice, and so we modeled JTaccuino following the Jupyter train of thought, and we copied like the user interface model from Jupyter Labs or from the VS Code plugin for notebooks, and try to get the best out of both worlds.
I think the best way to show what it can do is really show it. So can you maybe give a demo of a few of these notebooks that you have in JTaccuino?
What you see here is just like the empty way to get things started. So you open up JTaccuino, you end up with a Scratch notebook, and just the thing to type your code here. So how about we just try to do some things, and we see if we can get code completion. How about we take an array list? It's just tab-based completion, so it's really the style from JShell. Now we just execute this, so now we have the array list imported. How about we define one? You even get some bracket support. So we see we get an empty array list. Now, how about we add something to it? Can display it again. So you see the content. And if you think, this is one of the major benefits, I think, you can have an interactive display of those things. You really get the data that you have in your shell, in your environment, visualized in the VM using JavaFX.
So this display is a feature you added to the Java language, let's say, that you execute some kind of visualization.
So the idea was to have like a tight integration between the content of the notebook and the display of things. So if you're looking at the way Jupyter does it, there's this wire protocol between the web front end and the kernel running on the back end. To get this interactive is quite difficult because you have to like add HTML as an output on your back end and embed JavaScript to get some interaction. So what we have here is, we just create a node and add it to the scene that's already running on the VM. So we just bridged the tool with the JShell backend and allowed for those things. So it can get even better. So let's define a record. Something like this. I forgot the name.
Okay, but now we see that it has some way of showing errors.
Yes. So you see all the syntax errors you can produce, you get feedback for. So now we got a test record. And now we can do record 1, new test. So, and we can show this. You can see the string of the record. And now we can just reinitialize our array list just to make sure there's only one type in there. And we add the record. So we now print the list. You can see there's the record. And if we now display the list, you get a reflection-based table, not just a list. The JTaccuino knows about records, so it sees that the object you're trying to display is a collection, and the collection is typed using a record. So it analyzes the record, gets a hold of the components, and does a component for every. Does a column for every component, and just displays it as a table in JavaFX. So I think this is quite neat. And this is just the out-of-the-box table from JavaFX. And if we would be using a more sophisticated component like a spreadsheet-style view, as it's available, I think, from ControlsFX, you could even do filtering or whatever and searching inside the table. So you can now do sorting. So not very impressive with just one thing in there, but I think you get the idea.
So this is an example where you type in all the code that you're experimenting with, but I guess you also have a lot of examples of what can be done with JTaccuino existing notebooks, correct?
Got a couple of examples. They are available at our GitHub repository as well. And we could start with something. Quite simple. We can do. So it just loads it. It steps to the last thing, and now we can just execute the notebook. And you can see we're just reading out the system properties, and we display them as a list. Or even if we have a set, you even get a key value table on it automatically. So there are some magics built in, as you can see. So and we have some magics for charting as well. So just some simple stuff. I think if you're using JavaFX, you know how tedious it can be to create a chart. So many things to do. Put X's there and build the data sets and put everything together. We built like a small wrapper in a very functional style. So you just put in your function you want to plot, and you say I want to plot it from a lower X value to a upper X value bound, and you say, okay, just do plotting in a 0.1 step size, and then you get like the labels of the coordinate axis, and then you get a label for the chart. If we run this, you just get the typically JavaFX charts. This is one of the things that JTaccuino offers. There's like an extension mechanism that allows you to add stuff to the shell running the actual notebook. So you see we get like two shells running in the background. One is executing this notebook and the other is executing that notebook.
It's really nice that you immediately see the data here visualized in such a nice way. You don't need to do imports. You don't need to do dependencies. Everything is already here to do stuff like this.
So this is like a layered approach. So there's like the basic stuff, writing a more nice UI, and another philosophy of using it for JShell. And then there's the possibility to do a next layer of magic things that helps the developers to be more productive, because less typing and less things you need to know.
You said in the beginning, it's a tool also to be used in education, to learn people how to use Java. Is it right that I saw an example somewhere that there's also some commands in between these blocks, really guiding people through all these steps?
Yeah, so what we've seen up to now is we just have Java code, but we got this MarkDown cells. So this is highlighted with the buttons up there in the little small toolbar, and you can switch cells from Java to MarkDown content back and forth, and it's get rendered quite nice. So this is using a standard library for parsing the MarkDown content. And it's using a rich text editor component from Gluon-HQ, the rich text area, for doing the rendering. So no HTML, whatever involved. This is just pure JavaFX scene graph things.
Okay, so this example combines a lot. You have this markdown, which gets nicely rendered. Then I see that you have an add dependency. So that means that at runtime, you can add dependencies into JTaccuino. Like here, the 3D library, correct?
Yeah, just the typical Maven artifact coordinate syntax. And you can just say, okay, just download me this dependency if I don't have it. It stores it locally in a cache, and it adds it to the class path of the actual running notebook. And then from there on, you can just use this. And so, so see, we set up the camera. A lot of things to do, defining a mesh. So we got some alternative code in here. But let's see if we can just display this, and you can do this. Yeah. Thanks to Jose Pereira. He helped me with getting this interaction for 3D into JTaccuino. And if you say, okay, so how about interactive things? How about we just take this? So you can see the colors changing. Yeah. So we added a kind of function to the display. This probably still needs more work to be like a real API, and it needs more documentation how those things will work. But I think it's a proof of concept what JTaccuino offers as a benefit.
You've shown a lot of examples now, so we know what JTaccuino can do. So this is completely developed in Java and JavaFX.
Correct.
What are the main advantages from your point of view of doing this with JavaFX? You already said I don't need to go back to a backend server and render this as HTML. Is that the main advantage, or do you see more?
The main advantage is, so we started building a tool doing Java things. And we said, okay, so it's Java first, it's Java always, so everything's Java. And we thought about just doing rich clients, so you don't need any setup. And if you're in an environment where you don't have any connection or whatever, you can prepare everything, and then you can just run it locally. And you don't need a kernel, no other containers or whatever weird setup you probably might be already used to. You just run your application and just can do the stuff you like. So I think And the integration with the just having JShell running in the same VM as the front end things, this is really great.
Yeah, and you're sure about the right version of Java being used for what you need in your case.
Talking about the right version, we always try to support the latest OpenJDK release, and we are activating all the nice features that are in there. So we are running with a preview enabled, and we are running the notebook with preview enabled. So if you get preview features you want to try out, you can do it with the latest builds done. So yeah.
Yeah, again, a nice use case for this, that you indeed can experiment with all these new things coming into OpenJDK. Yes. Is there something in the code that you can show that was really hard to solve, but that you're proud of, that you could fix it with Java?
I think one of the major challenges was getting threading right. Mm-hmm. So everything in the UI and the JTaccuino UI happens on the platform thread if you do things, but you don't want those platform threads to be stuck on the execution in the JShell backend. So what I did was I wrote like a wrapper around JShell. I'm calling it the reactive JShell, which provides like a wrapper using an executor service worker with just a single thread where I just put everything in that should go to the backend JShell and will be executed just in sequence. Mm-hmm. And so it's on and off getting things done. And one thing was really taking me very long was you see there's the JShell builder, and we got this execution engine local, and this is like the magic. So if you're using JShell inside your tooling, the default is starting JShell in a separate VM. And it's just sending things back and forth. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing this, you won't be able to just directly interact with your data. So you need to run execution engine local. Mm-hmm. And then you see we got like all the handling. So typically JShell just supports executing one statement. And if you want to have more, you have to just like chunk it correctly into more things, and then those things are called snippets. Mm-hmm. And you get all the handling for it. So this was like very complex. So lots of things to interact with and getting things right and guessing things.
It looks like very clean code. But I know from experience, you only reach that point of clean, readable code after a lot of researching. And that's probably what went into this to get this right and have this interaction between the UI and the JShell in the correct way.
Yeah, and I think I'm still working on getting it really good. So it's doing its job for now, but there are always new things to discover. And so I learned from a colleague from the OpenJDK team, from Jan Lachoda. I learned that there's like an option to just pass what you have to the shell, and the shell tells you if this would be like code that would be executing, or if there's something wrong with the code without executing the code.
Yeah.
So this will be like a nice addition once JDK 25 is out. There will be a fix in OpenJDK. Based on the things we tried, and we figured out that it's not working as expected because nobody was using it.
So you influenced something in the development of OpenJDK?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's a nice result. We're looking at the codes, but this code is open source, so everything is on GitHub?
Yes.
Everyone can contribute, everyone can see how it works, how you did this?
Yes.
Can make a pull request if they want to improve something?
Absolutely. Leave me an issue if you try it out and something doesn't work, or if you have a nice idea for a new feature, what you think should be done. Just open up an issue. There are templates for features and bugs, so fairly easy, and then we might have a look into it.
What are the future plans? So you have this 24, new rich text editor. Other things that you are working on at this moment?
One thing I figured out was that using it in presentations is quite difficult due to the font sizes being fixed and everything. So one big thing on the list is enabling things to be available in a presentation mode style. So you can get rid of everything like I don't want to see the menu bar, I don't want to see the toolbars. just give me my distraction-free environment and use larger fonts for everything during my presentation. So this will need some reworking. We thought about, yes, more examples, adding more of this magic extension stuff for different library types or different. So there's so many charting libraries, and they all have some sweet spots. So maybe we can do more things on this this area. Better experience. So errors as you type might be very nice, like having like a red squiggly lines showing you just missed something out, so there's still something wrong. Adding more things to the automatically display magic, so detecting other types of other object types in Java, whatever, and that can be rendered in a nice way. So I'm looking at matrices or whatever in the math area. So yeah, there are lots of things to do. So I'm start putting issues into JTaccuino to track all the ideas.
And this is a pet project, I think, for you. So this happens next to your official working time.
Absolutely, it's my spare time activity.
Yeah, like a lot of these amazing projects I've been talking about and doing interviews. So many people working on amazing tools for free, just to help the community and to, in this case, make the learning experience of Java easier. So thank you a lot for your work on this. And I hope with this interview we can inspire a lot of people to try it out or contribute or whatever and get to know JTaccuino.
Thanks for having me and giving me the chance to tell about my project.